Hello, welcome again with Time with Bishop Nana Ebua. Today, we're going to continue our angelic teaching. Uh, some of us do remember that we spoke about an angelic series, yeah? And we're about to talk about it and exactly, I will also need your questions so that I can, some of us are trying or will try to work with it so that we can at least know how it's working based on the fact that what do you call it? Believe that something good is going to come out of it. Now, the first question is that how do angels look like? And secondly, is it possible to have an encounter with an angel? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, first of all, you must understand angels comes in different forms. Yeah, people usually think that angels would appear with flying with wings like birds and fly around and things like that. It's not like that. Well, an angel can choose to come in any form that it wants to, but usually when they do appear or when you have an encounter with them, it's a bit not as you would have usually expected. Okay, so today we're going to talk about one form of trying to get a message through to a holy angel. Okay, getting a message through is obviously you're not praying to the angel, but you are requesting the Lord to answer your prayer through the holy angel, so that the angel will bring you the report or the results as you're looking for. Okay, just like God sent an angel within the Christian Bible, sending messages to people. These people prayed for, and the message came. The Lord sent it through the angel, and with this kind of discussion that we're going to have, you're going to have, or if you go by, or if you work with it, you're going to have some very powerful encounters with the holy angels. Yeah. So first of all, how can one have a communication, or one can have something to an encounter? Now, this is what you're going to do. First of all, this type of what do you call it? This type of communicating with angels they're not going to come out physically, but you're going to have your message going through. Within a short time, you get an answers to those requests. Okay. Now, there are different ways of doing this because it depends what angel do you want to communicate with. Is it your guardian angel? Is it what do you call it? Is it holy angel Michael? Is it holy angel Gabriel? Is it Anel? Is it Uriel? These are archangels, or are they other angels that you want to communicate with, depending on what their specialties are? What we're talking about here is that there are billions of angels, and the next program or the next topic will be names and the speciality of certain angels, because what happens is that every angel has been given a speciality. Yeah, obviously they can do other things, but they are usually specialized in something. So for example, Gabriel, holy angel Gabriel, is specialized in communication. When you're talking about communication, he sends message to and flow. So for example, these days when you're talking about communication, you're talking about mobile phones, you're talking about internet, you're talking about advanced communication. So if you are praying for, requesting a knowledge in certain area of communication, this particular angel will be the best to help you. And before going further, you have to know the procedures and how to be able to get your message through with that angel. Now, there are other areas that will come later on, whereby these angels would need certain colors, certain incenses, certain directions. Okay, especially if you want to have a physical citation. But for now, what we're going to talk about is not a physical citation. It's obviously to be able to communicate with your God, with the angel as we're talking about. Now, first of all, you need a mirror. Yeah, a mirror, a clean mirror, or you need what is called a brass plate. A brass plate. Okay. Now, this brass plate is better than the mirror. Okay. However, because what is not so good about mirror is that it can break, but brass plate doesn't. And brass plate is usually, when you get to people's office or at the doors or their doors, you'd see a gold plate with their names or whatever on it. That is what a brass plate is. And you need a shiny one that you can see yourself through, just like a mirror. Okay. So when you have all these things in place, you have the brass plate in place. Then the next thing you do, you need an incense called mastic. mastic incense, yeah. And then you also need something called rose water. You can get them in the shops. Most of the supermarkets have them. Or if anything at all, you can always contact the shop at the church. Okay. And then you need something called temple incense. Now, with the temple incense, there are some fake ones around. I would advise you try and get the original ones. The fake ones, I've seen many in town. I don't want to mention how it looks like because I can be sued for it, but it's not the best. Okay, so you try and find original temple incense, and then you also find something called ambergris. Ambergris, this particular type of ambergris comes from something called sperm whale. There's this whale. Yeah, there are different types of whales, but this is called sperm whale, and this is something that comes out of it, and it flows on the sea for so many years, and then it comes on shore very hard, and it's called ambergris. Okay, so you need just about 3 grams of the ambergris with a handful of the other incense as I spoke about. So mix them all together. Now, what you do is that you put some few drops of the rose water on the on the brass plate, yeah, and then you get a brand new woolen cloth, which you're gonna, before you use it, what you do is that you wash that woolen cloth with a little bit of salt in the water. Now, possibly you don't have to use soap, okay? So just wash it with salt in the water. Then after that, you use the cloth to clean the brass plate, okay? That is the one with the rose water drops on it. So after cleaning it, as you've cleaned it, clean it with some admiration, praying that God should let you get your answers, okay? Remember, you're not going to be seeing the angel through this, but you're going to have an encounter, communication. Your message will go through, and then you definitely get some very positive answers. Now, when you do this, the next step, and usually when you're doing spiritual things, it's not advisable to use light bulbs. The reason why is that it carries energies, and the angel will also carry energy, so it doesn't really work. And for the angel to prevent you from fear, it will not appear at all, because the bulb might blast off. So the best thing to use is a candle, okay? When it comes to certain types of communication with the angels, we'll be talking about colors of the candle, but this one is basic. So you can use either white candle or gold candle or any candle at all. So you light the candle first, then let the candle flame be in a position whereby you can see in the brass plate, okay? Then after polishing the brass plate, you burn the incense that you've mixed together. You burn just a little bit, okay? And as you burn, you have to focus. You have to possibly, it's actually called meditate. Meditate means focusing on something, and possibly praying through, with a still mind, and with a focused mindset. So you just meditate and then pray within you, that you pray that your message will go through. Do this the first day for about 30 minutes. Then you continue again the second day. Actually, you're going to do this process for at least 14 days. Actually, it's supposed to be 21 days. But if you do it properly, then it's 14 days. Now, what is most important is that this process must be done when the moon is rising. It's like when the moon disappears and it starts coming up. That is when you start this process, okay? So as the day goes, the moon will keep on enlarging. So you go with the days of with it like that for 14 continuous days. Now, if within this process there's any mistake, then you have to continue for 21 days. Yeah, but if everything goes well as you're supposed to do, then definitely the 14 days should be fine. So then, as you burn the incense and you pray, based on the particular angel you're requesting for, then what you ask for, and you see, it will be easier when I also come later on to give you the names and the specialties of the angels, because you might have a specific thing that you want to request. For example, if an angel is specialized in, let's say, nature, and then you're talking about communication, it might work, but it might take a period of time. You understand? It's always good to request through the angel whose speciality God has given. Okay? So that is why I would need to bring you the names of the angels and their specialties. Most of them you might not even have heard before. But nowadays, the beautiful thing is that there's something called Google. If you do, you might get the name, but not their specialties. Okay, so now let's get back to what we're talking about. So now what you do now is that after this process, you do your prayers, you focus with the name of the angel in your mind, focused in your mind. So for example, if it's angel Metatron, you're talking about the Holy Archangel Metatron, the name must be focused in your mind. And as you look in the plate and praying and requesting God to help you, you'll be requesting to that name should connect with you. Okay, and as you keep on doing this for some number of days, yes, and the timing to do it is very important. You have to do it at a serene time when the weather is calm. So I would advise that it's better to do it in the night when the weather is very, very calm. Okay, because you don't need any noise. Mobile phones should be definitely off. You don't need anything to distract you and things like that. And you must do this specifically with respect and humility. Sorry, it's not as fact. It's not something that you should be feeling proud when you're doing it. You know, expanding your philanthropist and things like that. You must be with humbleness to be able to get results. It's very important. Now, when you're doing this and you're burning the incense and you're praying and you're requesting, one of the things that you may feel within this period of time, you may have you smell a very wonderful smell, what do you call it, aroma going about within the area. Then there's a possibility that it's not that, but then the angel had come. Obviously, you'll not see anything. There's another way that when you do this, you might feel some peace in your heart, some happiness. That also confirms that the angel is around. Oh, you'll not see him, but it's there. Another way of knowing is that you might feel some ecstasy, you know, something within you, not scary, but very something different. You feel it. So either of these things, or even others that I've not mentioned. But another thing that you might also know is that within the period of doing this, you might see a feather, a very smooth, light, beautiful feather, might for some reason come past your way, or you might see it at a corner somewhere. That is a sign that the angel is telling you something, that it's around, or it's heard your request. Okay. Now, some of the answers might come also in numbers. Some of them after that you might see numbers. Maybe you look at the clock, it's 1:1, it's 11 o'clock. You look at your watch. Anytime you look at something, it's a particular number. It's called angel numbers. So when the result is coming to you, might see that. Now, when you finish this 14 or 21 days, give yourself within another maybe month, and sometime, not within the time that you're doing the process, but after, sometimes that is when you have that feeling. Sometimes, if you don't have the feeling at all, don't worry. There's also chance, 90% chance that your message is going through. Maybe when you wait a while, maybe about 2, 3, 4 months, and you're not really seeing any result, then you can repeat it again. By the time you repeat it 3 times, I can assure you answers will come. However, the way God works, or the way God works, is not the way you want things to work. You understand? You might be hoping that straight away you want a car. After you pray, the following day you've got a car. It doesn't work like that. Something will lead you to be able to achieve the purpose of your prayer. So something might lead you to be able to get the car that you want, but it will not be an overnight thing. It will be a process with your hard work. You understand? These things, God does not just do things as magic. God does things with you also putting in effort. If not, he would have just carried the children of Israel directly from Egypt and taken them to the promised land. But they had to walk. They had to put in effort. Those who refused to walk, I'm sure they died on the desert. So you must put in the effort, pray about it. What I'm just teaching you is how to go about it to be able to get your results. Now, after you do all these things, after you do it, make sure that you just wrap the the brass plate and just put it down to be used another time. Okay? If you do these things properly, I can assure you, this is one of the first procedures of being able to have a communication with that holy angel. Now, further other times we're going to talk about, possibly even have to cite holy angels, we're going to talk about that also. But for now, I want to thank you and say that shalom, and may the good Lord bless you, and may you get results whatever you do, and should you do this, let us know how it turned up. What happened? Did you get a result? So that where you made wrong or whatever you did right, others can also learn from it. Shalom.